Hey guys, in today's video, I'll cover the best starter Multishot Bowazon builds that you can make with very cheap or easy to obtain gear to then clear hell and start farming. If you're a single player or untwinked Bowazon, or looking to make one and want to know what sort of item options you have, or you're someone who's totally new to the Bowazon experience and wants to give them a try by trading for some really cheap gear, then this video is going to be for you. Previously, I covered the best value and best late game Multishot Bowazon builds for players that have more item options. Do check those other videos out as well. But for now, we'll look at the top 3 starter Multishot Bowazon builds. For this, we'll assume using gear such as Wall Traps, Laying of Hands, Tails Mask, Razor Tail and Cat's Eye. If you can imagine a Bowazon that's playing through hell at the moment and is at level 65, that's the sort of Bowazon we're exploring the build options for in this video. So anyway, let's take a look at these builds. Starting with number 3, we have a Bowazon using an upped Witchwild string. Witchwild string is a unique short siege bow that can be found as early as Nightmare. I was fortunate enough to find a perfect one of these from Nightmare and Dariel in single player, but if you're playing online, you'll most likely trade for one of these for real cheap or find this in an item giveaway somewhere. Or you may get lucky and find this during a full playthrough. For this bow to be sitting in number 3 place today, this bow does need to be upped to a diamond bow to have an acceptable amount of damage, which upping it requires a pull and a lum rune. And even then, the bow doesn't have a high weapon damage, but it's deceptively strong and comes with some useful mods such as Deadly Strike per character level, 40% all resistances, 2 open sockets, and a free level 20 magic arrow. But most notably, this bow comes with the chance to cast Amplify damage on striking. Amplify damage when procced effectively deals 3 times more damage to cursed monsters, but at 2% chance to cast. You won't likely see this proc against weaker monsters all that often, and even if it does, you won't be able to take full advantage of it. But it's going to be real handy for taking down those much tougher monsters. Now, for those that don't know, the chance to cast amp damage on striking only works on the middle 2 arrows of Multishot. If you decide to use this bow for the amp damage proc, then make sure you aim your multishots so that the middle 2 arrows fly to the center of monster packs, or use strafe to trigger the proc for you. This bow is best paired with Treachery to boost attack speed and to take advantage of that venom proc for added poison damage. Once a Bowazon starts to level more, the Deadly Strike per character level will gradually increase over time, so the bow does scale up reasonably well. But at the same time, as the Bowazon increases her damage over time, amp damage will gradually proc less often or serve a smaller purpose overall. That said, it's an excellent bow at lower levels as it does free up skill points from both Critical Strike and Magic Arrow, as well as boost the Bowazon's resistances out of the negatives during the stage of the game where she struggles to find ways to boost resistances. And lastly, the bow comes with 2 open sockets, so not only this bow can be enhanced, you can save one Lazuk socket quest that can be used later down the road. So with all of that said, this is why the Bowazon using an upped Witchwild string sits in 3rd place today. Next in at number 2, we have a Bowazon using an upped Buriza-do kianon, or Buriza for short. The Buriza is a unique ballista that is famously known as a noob cannon back in the days of Lord of Destruction, where lots of players would wield a Buriza and with not that much else, destroys monsters with its high damaging guided arrows that pierce 100% of the time, looping back to hit targets up to 5 times per shot. This piercing behaviour has been patched out a long time ago now. However, for its level requirement of 41 and how early this crossbow can be found, it is still an effective high damaging weapon, with 2.5 max damage per character level on top, some decent flat cold damage and a good attack speed bonus. And that 100% pierce is still going to be very useful for multi-shot. For Buriza sitting in number 2 place today, we're assuming an upped version to a Colossus crossbow for higher damage, even though upping a Buriza comes with a hefty increase in its strength requirement. Because of the Buriza's already high increased attack speed and high base damage, this crossbow is best paired with a Lionheart rune word. Lionheart is basically a mini fortitude with enhanced damage plus the stats, life and all resists. This can be made using a 3-socket body armor with runes Hell, Lum and Fel. Out of all the entries today, the Buriza ages the best as the Bowazon reaches higher levels with its plus max damage per level. But being a crossbow, it still shoots slower than any bow composition and can feel quite sluggish to play over time, and that slow attack speed will in the long run make her DPS less efficient against enemies that can be one-shot with a faster attacking weapon. But for its overall raw power and early access to the weapon that's on par with Witchwild string covered earlier, the Buriza Multishot Bowazon sits in at number 2 place today. Before we cover the build in 1st place, an honourable mention goes out to the Bowazon using the full Mavina set. This Bowazon set has 5 separate set pieces, including the gloves, diadem, armor, belt, and the bow. The Grey Matron bow piece has a moderate amount of damage and attack speed, but doesn't offer much else apart from that. Together with the other 4 set pieces, however, the Bowazon's given more attack speed, loads of all resistances, and really a whole bunch of other bonuses. All up, a Bowazon wearing this set will have maxed or close to max resists, lots of plus to passive, magic, and bow skills that boost up several key skills, lots of elemental damage, and a respectable attack speed. At level 70, when a full set becomes wearable for the first time, the set is actually quite hard to beat for a budget range build. However, the set over time trails off and doesn't age as well as other builds covered today, as the key DPS metrics other than the bow itself are fairly high already, and the bow itself starts to look underwhelming compared to Buriza and Witchwild string at higher levels. That and the fact that all 5 set pieces are quite a challenge to round up, and nigh impossible to find before reaching level 70, the overall shelf life of this set for a Multishot Bowazon is fairly short. Trading for this set is possible, but for that, you'll likely need to give up a Nisrin for it, and then use 3 separate socket quests to get the most out of this set. And finally sitting in first place today, we have a Bowazon using a Harmony bow. Harmony is a mid-level rune word made in either a 4-socket bow or crossbow using runes Tur, Ith, Sol, and Ko in that order. This rune word is best rolled in a 4-socket matriarchal bow, but a 4-socket blade bow or great bow will do as well. The bow rolls with up to 275% enhanced damage and has lots of additional physical and elemental damage, plus the skills of Valkyrie and revive charges. However, the most noteworthy mod on this bow is a Vigor aura that is granted while equipped. This aura grants a Bowazon a significant boost to her running speed, and being a skill-based run-walk bonus is equivalent to around 100% fuzz around walk from items. With some decent damage when paired with a Treachery, combined with elemental damage bonuses and then a faster movement speed with Vigor, a Bowazon using Harmony can clear areas and then make her way to the next area quicker than with any other bow, improving clear speeds beyond just improving damage output. While it's possible to use a Harmony as a secondary weapon on Switch while using a high-hitting bow as a primary weapon, which by the way is something that I show a lot in my channel, the very fact that Harmony grants this extra utility gives a Harmony bow a much longer shelf life than any other non-top tier bow. And although Harmony doesn't have the greatest DPS out of all other entrants in this video, it does shoot fast when made in a matriarchal bow, and together with plus max damage charms, Harmony should serve any Bowazon well before and after she gets her hands on a Windforce, Mist, or any other high-end bow. And if you consider that the highest rune for making a Harmony is only a Ko rune, Harmony is the most accessible bow option in today's top 3. And this, and other reasons mentioned about Harmony, is the reason why today, the number 1 spot for best starter Multishot Bowazon builds goes to a Bowazon using Harmony. So there you have it guys. This was the hardest top 3 video I've put together so far, as each entry has more distinct pros and cons, and gear that a starter Bowazon can get her hands on is limited based on what she's able to get. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, then please hit that like button to show your appreciation. If you're starting to scratch the surface of playing a Bowazon, I encourage you to watch more of my videos to get familiar with her skills and her playstyle approach. Just keep in mind that you may want to play things a little safer by keeping your distance a bit more and speccing more towards vitality, then refining your playstyle from there to play more aggressively. If you have any questions about playing a Bowazon at all, shoot me a question in the comments below or hit me up in Discord using the server link in the video description. As always, if you haven't done so already and want to keep up to date with more Bowazon content, then do subscribe and hit that notification bell. Otherwise, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.